Do you believe the lie that you should only be seen when you're happy, right? Do you ever hide all your other emotions and maybe put on this sort of fill in your name uniform of the person you feel like everyone wants you to show up as, even though inside you might be feeling a whole lot of other things? Well, here's the deal. We live in a culture right now that sort of has these two juxtapositions. We're seeing all of this heartbreaking, horrific news happening all the time. And then we have good vibes only signs everywhere. And, I'm so much and such a proponent about positivity and about choosing the meaning we attach to things and all that. But it's also so important to know that you are worthy of being who you truly are, saying how you truly feel, meaning what you say, right? And showing up and believing you're worthy of showing up as who you really are in your friendships, in your relationships. It's so important, because every time we put on a mask and pretend to be somebody else, every time we hide the messy parts of our life, every time we think we should only be seen when we're happy, and then we show up inauthentically, whether it's in a friendship or in our job or in a relationship, on social media, doesn't matter where it is. Anytime you show up inauthentically, you are actually telling yourself you are unworthy of being who you truly are and feeling what you really feel, right? And it starts to chip away at your self-worth. And self-worth is everything, because in life, we don't soar to the level of our goals and dreams. We stay stuck at the level of our self-worth. We don't rise to what we believe is possible. We fall to what we believe we're worthy of. And part of building really strong self-worth is identifying and unlearning all the lies that lead to self-doubt, and then igniting, waking up and embracing all the truths that wake up worthiness. So in my book, Worthy, there is an entire chapter. There's a whole section on the lies, by the way, unlearning the lies that lead to self-doubt. And one of those lies is, I should only be seen when I'm happy. And what does that look like? That looks like we might desperately want connection with a friend, but we wait to call them because we just don't want to burden them with our problems. Or we don't want to lower their vibration, or we don't want to bring them down. So then we hide, we feel lonely, and then we either put a mask on and call them and act like everything's great, or answer the call when they call, act like everything's great. Or we just wait until we have something positive or uplifting or great news to share with them. As a result, loneliness is at an all-time high. In fact, right now, 75% of us, right? You look at studies, 75% of us say that we'll only show our happy or positive emotions, and we'll literally hide or bury the negative or other, perceived negative emotions. I love the quote by Glennon Doyle that says, being human isn't about feeling happy, it's about feeling everything. And learning to know that you are worthy and that you are enough to feel everything is so important. Showing up as who you authentically are, fully you, is actually the only way to create a true human connection with another human, a true connection, right? We have all of these sort of false, unfulfilling connections that we might feel on social media, or we might feel if we're showing up as only part of who we are, but not all of who we are. And again, I said this a minute ago, but every time you show up inauthentically, you are telling yourself you're not worthy of being who you are. So it does slowly chip away at your self-worth. It's so important to know you are worthy of all of your feelings. They're all valid. The positive ones, the negative ones, the times when you just need to vent and have someone hear you, the times when you feel heartbroken, the times when you feel insecure, right? We all feel those. And we're kind of in this society where we're wearing these good vibes only shirts, and they're super cute. I have a few. But when we're only wearing those, we start to think that we're not worthy of showing up unless we're only feeling good vibes. And that's just not true. It is so important right now, today, to make the decision. Well, first of all, just be aware of it. Am I only showing up when I feel like I have something positive to share with someone? And am I feeling alone or hiding who I am or not calling the friend back or not answering the text or not answering the call or not answering the email or declining the invitation when I feel like I'm just not in that positive state? And I don't want anyone to see me in anything other than a positive state. There's a recipe for loneliness. So today, just to kind of do a check and go, am I showing up for my true friends, the people I trust, the people I love, as all of who I am? Am I sharing times when I'm down and times when I'm up? Am I sharing how I really feel and saying what I really mean? And if the answer is no, decide if that's an old story, an old lie you want to unlearn, that you are only worthy of showing up when you're happy. Because it's a lie. You're worthy of showing up exactly as you are, right? And then today, make that decision to take one step. You could just take one small step forward of deciding, I'm going to call a friend up who I trust, and I'm going to actually share what I really feel. Or I'm going to share, I'm kind of insecure today, or I'm kind of down today, right? And one tip, and I talk about this, and I go in deep in the chapter in Worthy called I Should Only Be Seen When I'm Happy, the lie, and how to unlearn that lie. But one of my friends, Glow Atano, talks about how she does what she calls a capacity check, right? Have you ever had, because by the way, listening can actually be depleting. Studies show it's depleting on the listener. So listen, I'm a good listener, by the way. Listeners are heroes. My husband's a great talker. I'm a great listener. Listeners are heroes. It's also depleting to listen. And so one tool as you start to implement this in your life, where you start really sharing how you're really feeling, the good, the bad, the insecure, the excited, all of it, right, is what's called a capacity check, what my friend Glow calls a capacity check, which means, when you call someone up, or it could be your partner at home or your friend, you just ask them like, hey, I have something kind of, serious I want to share or heavy on my heart. Do you have capacity right now for a conversation? And then they might say yes, they might say no, they might say, oh, you know what, I'm super going a million miles an hour right now, but can we talk tonight at 6 p.m.? Like, you just kind of check, do you have capacity for a conversation that's not just happy? You know what I mean? And doing that capacity check's huge. I actually started doing it in my marriage. Sometimes when my husband Paulo will come up to me, I'll say, okay, do you want to just vent? Do you want me to give you advice? Do you want me to just listen? Here's how much capacity I have right now. And if you need more than that, let's pick a time, kind of thing. And I'll ask him the same thing. And it's been, huge for us. And, if you don't want to start asking this right away in your relationships, you could ask others to do it for you. Can you, check in with me and say capacity check? But if you aren't ready to do that yet, you can just start doing it, right? You can just call them up and say, hey, do you have capacity? Kind of a thing. But if you have a friend that maybe is always calling you and wants to just dump all the time, well, that's when you can kind of start to implement those boundaries. You can start by just setting the example yourself and just saying, hey, I want to share something with you, but I want to do a capacity check. Do you have capacity for this conversation? And then you kind of ease into it and you eventually ask them, hey, would you mind just checking in with me if I have capacity for something that's heavy right now? And you just kind of build trust and you build connection and you speak your truth. And, it's the most beautiful thing that I know for so many of us who are raised people pleasers, or who believe, especially girls and women, we're taught like, just smile, just be quiet. Like, I have so many memories growing up of being a little girl, and I'd walk into a supermarket, and if I wasn't smiling for a second, some adult would say, smile, like as if that's my job. We're taught we should only be seen if we're happy. It's a lie, and it's a lie that leads to disconnection. It's a lie that leads to us showing up inauthentically and chipping away at our self-worth. So the time to unlearn that lie has come, because you deserve to be seen when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're insecure, when you're lonely, all the emotions, the good and bad. You are fully worthy of every single one of them.